Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Kanda. I am Portia, Gabor.
And I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. These are the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
Bank.
Agradaa constituents mourn the death of their Member of Parliament, Ernest Kumi, as Parliament adjourns sitting in his honor.
As President John Mahama marks 6 months since assuming office, the Trades Union Congress and the Ghana National Association of Teachers are urging government to sustain the current macroeconomic indicators.
Also coming up, more trouble for incarcerated Nana Agradaa as the Accra High Court orders her to open her defense in a case over the alleged sharing of nude images.
Coming up in business news, finance and tax experts project uptake in Treasury bill subscription as inflation dips below current yields, making T-bills more attractive.
And on the international front, at least 10 people killed in protests in Kenya, according to a state-run human rights body, the latest in a wave of anti-government rallies. We have details of all these stories and more. We always love to hear from you on the many stories we're about to share with you this evening.
We begin on a rather sad note, and Parliament was forced to adjourn sitting on Monday to mourn the death of Ernest Kumi, the late member for Agradaa, after a formal communication by the minority leader. Although the cause of his demise is still unknown, his passing has dealt the legislative body a big blow. A report by Christian Yali.
The heart of Parliament felt silent, an unexpected moment that froze time and bound members in grief. The death of Ernest Kumi, the late MP for Agradaa, truncated a busy schedule for the day as his colleagues struggled to put themselves together. Before proceedings started, the late Ernest Kumi's seat and microphone were draped in a red ribbon.
One of us has been summoned to the Parliament above. It's quite regrettable for me to be the carrier of this message to this august house. It took his resilience to come to this august assembly of the people's representatives. He was determined to serve his people. We are in touch with the family, and as it is customary, at the appropriate time, Parliament and its leadership shall be informed.
Members of the minority caucus were directed to avoid sitting close to the late MP's seat as they were reassigned new seat. For the minority leader, Alexander Fiomakin, Kumi's sudden death is painful.
I am, through this medium, expressing on behalf of the caucus condolences to the bereaved family and to the people of Agradaa. The member was not seen as somebody who was unwell, and therefore you are pained. But like we say, God knows best.
On a somber note, both leaders agreed to adjourn the proceedings.
It is the prayer of this side of the House that today's proceedings be terminated.
So this is a young man full of promise for the store of knowledge, intellect, promise for store of energy that this house needs to sustain it. It's not only a loss to his family, it's not only a loss to Agradaa as a constituency, it's a loss to Ghana. I join my colleague to appeal to colleagues here and then Right Honorable Speaker that we do take an adjournment.
As many as are in favor of adjournment, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The House is accordingly adjourned.
In a political space often shaped by sharp divisions, Monday did not witness any of that. However, it was both sides that united in grief in a rare unanimous decision to bring proceedings to an immediate halt, all in honor of one of their own who is now passed on, Ernest Kumi, the late MP for Agradaa. Christian Yale, TV3 News, Parliament House.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Amen.
Now, his victory in the 2024 elections came after a hard-fought and contentious battle. But just 6 months into his term as Member of Parliament for Agradaa, tragedy struck, leaving his family, constituents and the New Patriotic Party in the Eastern region in shock and mourning. Our correspondent has visited the area and reports.
Ernest Kumi became the Member of Parliament for the Agradaa constituency in the 9th Parliament, marking his first term in office. Despite legal hurdles, he was sworn in, ready to serve his people with dedication. Now, his sudden death has left family, resident and party members heartbroken and struggling to come to terms with the loss.
Agradaa mourns, Parliament mourns, especially when we know that it's been a devastating issue for them at the shock of a vibrant 40-year-old MP.
Bedu anopei, the anopei no say nakuma ayeneya. Ntomo de ko hospital or Leicester Hospital. Omo di hospital no. Afede obudi so siniso a ayeden enko.
He was rushed to the hospital for medical care. The hospital officials tried everything to keep him stable, but we lost him. It's very devastating to us. High expectations, because we know our MP was going to help a lot more number of youth in this constituency get employed. We're very saddened by the loss. Our MP Ernest was never sick. I followed him to court always. I am still in disbelief. This is hard to take.
So the Eastern Regional MPP has issued a statement describing the loss of the Agradaa MP Ernest Kumi as devastating and a shock to them. Beyond the grief, a political looming crisis stares in their face. A call for a by-election. For now, Agradaa mourns its MP.
And for those who may not know who exactly Ernest Kumi was, let's take you through some of the key things we know about him, especially his political career. So he is a member of the New Patriotic Party, born on the 5th of December 1984. Just 40 years young and passed away in the early hours of today. So his constituency in the Eastern region, Agradaa, was where you just watched that story from, where family and friends are mourning in shock and disbelief about his passing. And he is a first-time member of parliament. He was declared winner of the 2024 parliamentary elections at his constituency, Agradaa, and won by some 19,269 votes, defeating the NDC's Henry Yadomboache, who got 17,206. Now, it was contested. That win was contested by the NDC in court, and a court injunction was secured to prevent him from carrying himself as the member of parliament elect for the Agradaa constituency. Now, before he even contested in the main elections, he had to contest the primaries, the NPP primaries, beating the incumbent, I must say, and won to now contest the NDC in that election. So before we come to his educational career, this is the court case that actually drew a lot of attention to him. In February 2025, he was convicted by the Koforidua High Court for contempt after defying the injunction which barred him from being sworn in. And if you remember, here at your election command center, we brought that parliamentary conversation when the clerk of parliament said that because of that injunction, he should not be sworn in. But the then minority leader, who is still the minority leader, Alexander Penyomakin, indicated that they were willing to, allow him to go through the process, and if any issue came up, they will help him through the court processes. And coincidentally, he appealed the case and then won, and then now was sworn in. So he appealed, and then the appeals court decision was 4-1 in his favor. So then he had to go to parliament and work as the duly elected constituent member of parliament for the constituency. This is a very fine educational background he had. He started from his Regional Maritime University with a BSc Ports and Shipping Administration. Then he got his LLB in law in 2019 from the Mount Crest University College. He has an MBA in Corporate Governance, University of Professional Studies, and the Ghana Armed Forces and Command College, where he has an MSc in Defense and International Law. And Parliament had to adjourn today because of the development. So we are hoping that in the next few days we'll update you on what exactly the party, his family, and Parliament will be doing regarding his passing away.
Thank you so much, Martin. In the More News tonight, President John Mahama has revealed that government will soon start paying debts owed road contractors this month. Announcing this decision during a meeting with members of the Council of State at the Presidency on Monday, President Mahama explained that the payment would allow contractors to return to their sites and resume work on stalled projects.
To the issue you raised about the payment to contractors, payment is about to start from the end of this month. The Minister of Finance has put some money aside to begin to clear the arrears of contractors. So I'm sure that some of the contractors who have been working on your projects will be paid so that they can go back on site and continue their work. He's prioritizing payments to road contractors because several of the road contracts have stalled and slowed down. And as you're aware, some people have threatened to demonstrate on the Ofanko Road on Saturday. And so getting the contractors to go back to site and continue work as quickly as possible is one of the priorities of government.
Let's go on to some other stories now. It's been exactly 6 months since John Dramani Mahama was sworn in, returning to the presidency after 8 years in opposition. Some have described him as the most prepared president by far, while others believe his good start may soon disappear in a year or two. We'll bring you the story in detail in a jiffy because many have already been sharing thoughts. We hit the streets to find out from many Ghanaians that 6 months on, today is the 7th of July, so 6 months on after being sworn in, what do Ghanaians make of his presidency so far? That story will come to you in a jiffy. Before that, though, the Trades Union Congress and the Ghana National Association of Teachers are urging government to sustain current macroeconomic indicators through to the end of the year. According to them, maintaining economic stability will help ease the cost of living pressures that many Ghanaians endured in 2024. The leadership of the unions shared these concerns in an interview with our Labour Affairs correspondent, Daniel Opoku, as the government marks its first 6 months in office.
The government under President John Dramani Mahama is earning praise for his handling of the economy. With inflation currently hovering around 18% and lending rates near 23%, analysts say the country is showing signs of recovery after facing significant economic challenges in 2024. International rating agencies, including Fitch, have also given the government favorable assessments. But despite the progress, organized labor is urging caution. The Trade Union Congress and the Ghana National Association of Teachers are asking President Mahama to proceed carefully as the country navigates the economic recovery. TUC Secretary General Joshua Ansah says while the government deserves credit for stabilizing the economy, more must be done, especially on the issue of illegal mining, also known as galamsey.
I think we need to commend him. He said he will bring the dollar down. It has been down. He said so many things which we have seen it being done. The only thing is the galamsey fight. The only thing is that we also expect that 2026 minimum wage and base pay should have been negotiated. So we are beginning we ourselves are beginning the process by sending the invitation to the Tripartite Committee and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission for us to commence discussions and negotiations on the base pay and the minimum wage.
General Secretary of NAT Thomas Tanko Musa also urged the President to stay within budgetary limits to sustain progress made so far.
Let's be careful with the add-ons that we are doing. For example, the payment of the capitation grant at the basic school level, we have now added the first years of the university, and we are also taking care of. They are all good, but let us be careful that we want to be doing further expansion of that free thing.
Both labor leaders say the government must stay committed to the current growth trajectory to deliver long-term relief to Ghanaians.
I don't want to give percentage, but I've already told you that we have commended the president for actually acting on his words. But the only disappointment is the galamsey thing that he has not done. And I'm urging the government or the president to actually do as he promised. He should revoke the LI, and I think I'll give him a plus.
Reduction in inflation, the fall of the dollar, the credit rating of Ghana, both locally and internationally, among other things. In fact, the narrative now is better than it used to be.
Organized labor says it's optimistic, but insists the government must remain focused and responsive to the needs of ordinary citizens.
Right, so let's take a step back to our earlier story having to do with the fact that today marks exactly 6 months since President John Dramani Mahama was sworn in, and many Ghanaians have been sharing their thoughts on what they make of his presidency 6 months down the line. Christabel's success Trevor hit the streets to engage a number of Ghanaians on what they make of President John Dramani Mahama's second coming.
I have entered into a covenant with you, the good people of Ghana, in which I have enumerated 26 actions that I'll take within my first 120 days.
When President John Dramani took the oath of office on January 7th, 2025, he promised to build a Ghana that works not just for a few, but for all. But today, exactly 6 months into that vision, many Ghanaians are asking, are we really seeing the change yet?
After a heated 2024 campaign, John Dramani Mahama returned to the presidency with bold promises of a 24-hour economy and a broad agenda to reset the country. His message struck a chord with some voters, but translating promises into results takes more than campaigning. The Mahama administration has launched the 24-hour economy, introduced the Mahama Care Plan, and proposed a new youth jobs and skills fund, Ejimewura. So far, public opinion on his administration has been positive, with Ghanaians sharing a wide range of views.
They are doing well, but it's not perfect as they promised before. We can all see that the prices of things in the markets are reducing. I'd give them maybe a 7.
He has done well. He's cut some taxes. E-levy is gone. Betting tax is gone.
The depression that we were going through in terms of monetary affairs has been released a little.
Public frustration is rising, especially with the fragile energy power sector, resulting in unannounced power cuts in certain areas. The Mahama administration has defended the pace of progress owing to debts inherited. Critics argue there's little to show for his time in office so far. Some experts believe his administration is on course.
Based upon the figures I've seen and I've put out there, I think that some of us did not expect such a huge positive change within a relatively short period. As much as the government has the goodwill of the people, We did not expect, like myself, that we are going to have such a drastic change in an area of transportation, for example, in terms of fuel, right, in terms of the cedi to the dollar. Some of us never expected that. And you could see that even the borrowings that they are taking from Treasury bill, the percentages have gone down.
But just like the proverbial Oliver twist, Ghanaians want more.
We are supposed to have a monitoring and evaluation. And it doesn't have to be like any of those flashing programs that we have seen in time past, like President Kufuor's era. We have PSI, Presidential Special Initiative. We have different flagship programs under, President Akufo-Addo, and we don't even have any theoretical framework for the free SHS.
A few things like security. Aside that, economy top notch.
With 6 down and about 3 more years to go, President Mahama's second coming is still taking shape. But in a country where people are tired of hardship, patience is slowly running out. Christabel Success-Trevor, TV3 News, Accra.
In other news, the Accra High Court has ordered the founder and leader of Heavyweight Champions International Ministry, Patricia Isiama, popularly known as Nana Agradaa, to open her defense in a case involving the alleged sharing of nude images of a prophet. The embattled former fetish priestess turned evangelist has begun serving her 15-year jail term for charlatanic advertisement and defrauding by false pretense after being jailed by a circuit court. Lord Idwasari reports.
Patricia Asiedu-Dartey, widely known as Nana Agradaa, has been charged with 1 count of possession of obscene material and 3 counts of non-consensual sharing of intimate images. 3 others, Enoch Osukisi, Charles Omane, and Emmanuel Kofi-Jesi, have also been charged with abetment of crime to wit non-consensual sharing of intimate images. In court on Monday, July 7, Presiding Judge Mary Ekwe Yanzu dismissed Nana Agradaa's submission of no case and ordered her to open her defense. Her lawyers, led by Richard Balfour, informed the court that she had been incarcerated and requested an order for her to be brought to court from jail for the ruling. However, Justice Yanzu declined and delivered the ruling in her absence. The leader of the Heavyweight Champions International Ministry is thus expected to open her defense. The judge further ordered the defense lawyers to file their witness statement and directed prison officers to ensure that Agradaa is brought to court on the next adjourned date. The case has been adjourned to July 30 for a case management conference. According to the prosecution's facts, sometime in 2021, Nana Agradaa, who owns Standard TV, now Today's TV, allegedly displayed the nude photos of Prophet Emmanuel Apiafomum to the public. Meanwhile, her lawyers have filed an appeal against the 15-year sentence by the Accra Circuit Court. Patricia Asiedu-Dartey was on July 3 sentenced to 15 years imprisonment in hard labor by an Accra Circuit Court on multiple counts of charlatanic advertisement and defrauding by false pretense. Court documents filed by Richard Balfour, her lead counsel, indicated that the appeal was premised on grounds that the judge in the matter erred in law by shifting the burden of proof to his client, thereby requiring her to prove her innocence, although the prosecution failed to present substantive evidence. They also noted in the appeal that the trial judge demonstrated manifest bias and personal animosity towards the petitioner by persistently engaging in confrontations, harassment, and intimidation of the accused lawyers in open court, thereby denying her adequate and effective representation. They therefore want the High Court to set aside the conviction and sentence. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Chairperson of the Constitutional Review Committee, Professor Kwesi Prempeh, has called for constitutional reforms that will remove the President's power in appointing and removing the Chief Justice. His comments come in the wake of the President's decision to suspend the Chief Justice following petitions for her removal.
Judicial independence has been on the front burner in recent times. Speaking at the Africa Judicial Independence Fund Dialogue, Professor Kwesi Prempeh believes the President should not be given the power to appoint or remove justices. He says the move will enhance the independence of the judiciary in the adjudication of cases.
The President now moved from the process. Absolutely, I think going forward, it's not healthy. It is a temptation. You don't tempt power in these parts like that. Certain things we have done with our constitution almost presume that the people we are going to elect are angels. I mean, it is one of the most ridiculous. Our constitution is too permissive. It trusts power holders too much. Whether they are the president, they are the chief justice, we trust people with power too much. In Ghana, you say, "Shall," hey, that's my power. It is, "I shall appoint you." So I do the thing by myself. Absolutely, the president shouldn't be given that kind of power, whether in the appointment side, on the appointment side, or on the removal side.
According to him, election disputes between political parties is a risk faced by judges. Professor Prempeh says the independence of the judiciary must come with accountability and urge judges to be open to criticism and scrutiny.
The court must also be willing to accept that judicial independence must come with judicial accountability. Because they are not elected, they must be more open to scrutiny by at least their peers. The legal academics, law journal articles, these are the only ways that many legal cultures hold judges accountable. If academics cannot criticize you, if lawyers cannot, the bar cannot criticize you, and if you're going to use contempt power to stifle debate, then how are we to hold you accountable when you are not elected? And so I think judges must accept with some humility that the power does come with responsibility, that there are in fact limits to the power, and that they must be open to peer accountability.
Professor Prempeh noted, following the numerous petitions received, his outfit will review Article 146, which focuses on the procedures for the removal of Supreme Court justices.
The Ghana Police Service has strongly condemned the use of firearms without lawful authority at events. This follows the arrest of key suspects involved in the fatal incident leading to the death of a Queen Mother and the injury of one other person. Briefing the press, the Accra Regional PRO, Superintendent Julian Obing, confirmed the suspect shot the 33-year-old Queen Mother, Pearl Nadodua Whitaker, under the influence of narcotics.
At about 7 p.m. on the day of the incident, some individuals armed with locally manufactured weapons began firing indiscriminately. One of the shooters, later identified as Gilbert Awini alias Starboy, allegedly aimed and fired his weapon at close range, striking Pearl Nadodua Whitaker, 33-year-old Queen Mother of Papase, killing her instantly. Another victim, Priscilla Na Ayele, who is 38 years and a trader, was also shot in the chest and is on admission at the University of Ghana Medical Center, thankfully in a stable condition. Further details has established that the suspects had consumed sobolo, which we suspect was laced with some narcotic substances at the ceremony before the incident happened. Now, after realizing that he had committed the crime, that is Starboy, he fled the scene on a motorbike with his friend known as Oxygen and sought refuge in Asokore, a suburb in the Ashanti region. We arrested Gilbert Awuni alias Starboy. He's 21 years and an Okada rider and a resident of Denchwa here in Accra.
You're still watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. We have business, sports, entertainment all coming up.
concentrated perfume.
Welcome back to News 360 on TV3. Michael Obodu is with us. Hello, Mike.
Hi, people.
What's happening in business?
Well, you know, inflation has dropped significantly, right?
Yes.
So analysts are projecting that it means that T-bills will become more attractive now, so an uptake over there.
Okay. All right.
You know, for a while now, the rate is higher than...
Yes, than other investments.
I like the fact that you get it. To the details now. Hello there, good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, the recent trend of undersubscription in Ghana's Treasury bill auctions may soon reverse, according to finance and tax expert and head of finance at Melbourne Capital, Nelson Kujo Kwagbeji. Kwagbeji noted that the prevailing low inflationary pressures are expected to have a beneficial impact on investor behavior regarding Treasury bills.
In recent weeks, government Treasury bill auctions have consistently fallen short of their targets, despite all bids tendered being accepted. This trend has raised questions about investor confidence and liquidity in the domestic debt market. Currently, Ghana's inflation rate stands at 13.7% as of June 2025, which is notably lower than the average Treasury bill rate of 15%. This differential, where the return on Treasury bills is higher than the rate of inflation, means that investors will experience a real positive return on their investments, making Treasury bills more attractive. As inflation continues to ease, the real return on these government securities is likely to become even more appealing, potentially drawing more investors back into the market and leading to a reversal of the recent undersubscription trend.
The 91-day Treasury bill rate is around 14%. Inflation is at 13.7%, which technically means that activities within the money market in the coming days will be provoked because the real rate of return for any investor that invests within the money market will be around 0.03%. And so we expect a lot more activity within the money market. And so the undersubscription that government has witnessed over the past few auctions, we expect the trend to reverse as a result of the disinflationary pressure that we are witnessing.
The optimistic outlook suggests that the current macroeconomic environment is expected to increase a more favorable climate for government borrowing, potentially easing the pressure seen in recent auctions.
Now, the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry is calling for the immediate inauguration of the Road Fund Board to oversee the payment of debts owed to contractors. According to Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Emmanuel Cherry, the absence of a board has significantly contributed to the delay in paying contractors since the current government took power.
The Chamber believes that the inauguration of the Road Fund Board will help streamline the payment process and ensure that contractors receive the payments they are owed in a timely manner. Government owes a staggering 67.5 billion cedis to contractors and suppliers, as presented by Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen in the 2025 budget.
The formation of the Road Fund Board is long overdue. Other constituted board has been inaugurated. We see no reasons why a Road Fund Board is still in limbo. We are pleading with His Excellency the President and the Minister for Roads and Highways. As a matter of urgency, they should put the Road Fund into its perspective, making sure that the Road Fund Board is inaugurated. And as a result of that, at least the needful must be done.
The Chamber has also called for the immediate release of the $300 million allocated for payments to contractors.
Converting $300 million to Ghana cedis, how much would that be? 3.something billion, approximately, out of 21 billion. It's a drop in the ocean. However, half a loaf, they say, is better than none. So we welcome that, but it should be immediate because contractors are suffering. I'm telling you sincerely, the governments came in to inherit this debt portfolio. We don't begrudge him, but 5 months, 6 months into administration, something must happen.
Emmanuel Cherry made the comments at the 6th Ghana Investment and Trade Week under the theme Constructing Prosperity, Advancing Industrial Growth Through Smart Infrastructure Planning.
Absa Bank Ghana has opened a new branch at Kaswa in the central region. The opening of the Kaswa branch is part of the bank's strategic effort to bring inclusive banking services closer to individuals and businesses in emerging communities.
The inauguration ceremony attracted key stakeholders from the financial sector, traditional authorities, local entrepreneurs and members of the Kaswa community. The new Absa Bank Ghana Kaswa branch features a modern customer service center, self-service banking technology, SME advisory desks, and a dedicated space for digital banking, underscoring Absa's digital-first but people-led strategy. The managing director, Edward Natiboche, spoke about what the new branch means to them.
This branch, for me, it stands for lots of things. Number one, it stands for access. Access for the small business person down the road. Access for the corporate client down the road. Access for the consumer client down the road. Access to the world that Absa offers to you. It also stands for connection. Connection to the rest of the world, connection to the products that as Absa we offer to our client base. This brand for me, it also stands for commitment. Our commitment to this community, our belief that this community can thrive.
Director of Retail Banking, Charles Adu, gave more clarity to the tagline, "Your story matters."
Story Matters is about impacting community, about societies as well. So being here is being able to solution the customers and impact their lives. Over the last couple of months, you would notice that we've innovated certain demands that the customers have asked for in terms of payment solutions, in terms of lending that we feel would impact this community.
With this new branch, Absa Bank Ghana continues to demonstrate its role as a trusted partner for progress.
We'll turn our attention now to the currency and the commodities market. And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next is sports.
Brought to you by Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Reku Ampofo. The Black Queens opened their campaign in the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations with a 2-0 loss to South Africa's Bayana on Monday, July 7. Two first-half goals by the reigning champions within 6 minutes put the game beyond Coach Kim Las Yorkegren's girls. There's more in the following report.
Well, it was a bad day at the office for the Black Queens of Ghana in their opener against South Africa as they lost 2-0. The Queens, who started the game very brightly, lost momentum after Doris Bourgeois received a yellow card and they conceded a penalty in the first half as well. That broke the Black Queens, and anytime the Black Queens are under pressure, anytime they concede, that's when you see them frustrated. That's when you see them not being able to stick to play, not being able to stick to exactly how the coach wanted them to play. Now it leaves the two remaining games against Mali and Tanzania as must-win games. And remember that in 2018, when we hosted the tournament here in Ghana, we played our second group game against Mali and lost after we had won 1-0 against Algeria. And so it's all to play for, all to win as well, so that Ghana will be able to move into the next round of the competition and not repeat 2018 when the tournament was hosted here in Ghana.
Let's do some more here where the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Honorable Kofi Adams, early on Monday toured the Boteman Sports Complex to assess the state of Ghana's flagship multi-purpose facility, which was used for the 13th African Games. My colleague Asiedu-Dartey was there and put together this report.
The Minister for Sports and Recreation was accompanied by the new Chief Director, Mina Samoa, Deputy Director for Sports, Horin Kwashiga, the chairman of the LOC for the 13th African, with unauthorized persons constructing properties on the remaining acres.
Who are paying for land in this area, this space, from where the wall is for the facilities all the way to the stream, serves as a boundary for the land from University of Ghana by government for the purposes of developing sports infrastructure, not to continue with the transaction. Those who are engaged in construction, who have paid already and are constructing, it's better for them to stop, because any investment they make in this area will be a wasted investment.
The Boteman facilities, currently under the care of the Sports Ministry, will possibly be handed over to the National Sports Authority or a private institution in some years to come. As the days roll on, stakeholders will continuously keep an eye on the state of one of Ghana's best sporting facilities.
Well, that's the note on which we wrap up the sports segment here on News 360. You can get some more sports updates on our social media handles at 3sportsGH. My name is Reku Ampofo. Up next on the bulletin is entertainment.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my
In more news tonight, local mining firm Engineers and Planners has acquired 100% stake in Black Volta Gold Project in the Upper West region, securing a $100 million financing agreement from the Absa Bank for investment and development. The project is set to open up the Upper West region that is endemic to poverty and increase Ghana's gold production.
A financing agreement signing that was held in Accra marked a step towards the development of Ghana's first large-scale, wholly owned indigenous gold mining operation, positioning engineers and planners at the forefront of Ghanaian-led participation in the extractive sector, the focus Upper West region that has yet to see significant large-scale mining. It spans an area beyond 934 kilometers. The signing event, financiers say this is a major investment that should be positioning Ghana on the world gold map.
If we want to change our balance sheet, we can't do 10 million US dollars transactions. We must target 50 million US dollars, 100 million US dollars, 200 million US dollars as a bank, because we are DFI. We are not a commercial bank. And so engineers and planners, being one of our good customers, we decided that we should be involved in the acquisition of this Black Volta project. And as he said, we started about 2 years ago. So it means that all the due diligences and all those have taken place. So please, let us be mindful of this. As Dr. Samjona said, this project has nothing to do with politics. Please take note of that.
Ghanaian business leader Sam Jonah dismissed suggestions that EMP's acquisition of the Black Volta Gold project was driven by political favoritism.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us be clear. And I repeat, let us be clear. This is not a favor. There is no political patronage here. This is not crony capitalism. This is not about friends and family. The deal we are witnessing here today was actually initiated as far back as 2023, October, with no fanfare, no interference, and no backroom dealings. The success of this deal is not just about one company. It is about national economic transformation. For far too long, the mining industry in Ghana, despite its immense contribution to exports and foreign exchange, has been largely disconnected from the broader economy.
A deal, merit-based and commercially viable transaction reflect what has been long overdue, the transformation in Ghana's mining sector. The Chamber of Mines says the move must open up for more local participation.
The Chamber would work with all its members to drive synergies to ensure that the project is successful. This is a pivotal juncture, and we reaffirm our shared commitment to 3 pillars. The pillar of collaboration and value creation, responsible mining and stewardship, synergy and shared prosperity.
The deal was signed in 2023 after many years of exploration to a viable field. A major preference for EMP is local participation in the mining process.
Look, for the first time, you would have a Ghanaian mining our resources. There's no need to change money, dollars, pay dividends, transfers outside. Everything will be here. People will be employed here locally. All the top management, every single person who directly benefit from this mine is a Ghanaian. Particularly, look at the track record of ENP. Beyond their work, we are witnesses of their social engagements, what they have done. Now that they own the mine themselves, you can just think of what they can do. So I have no doubt that by the time, even before the mine takes full force, you see the benefit of a Ghanaian owning the mine in the local community.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyle and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. Now tonight in the segment, we bring you some tidbits from the world of entertainment. Dancehall artist Shatta Wale has urged Ghanaian youth to support the current government led by John Dramani Mahama. Speaking at the President's Cup on July 6, he praised the administration's efforts to improve the financial well-being of young people. He emphasized that government's initiatives aim to put money in the pockets of the youth. In a Facebook post, he also commended the president for empowering the youth and including them in his vision. Drake is facing online backlash after releasing his new track, What Did I Miss?, where he calls out fake friends and reflects on his feud with Kendrick Lamar. In the emotionally charged lyrics, Drake expresses betrayal and disappointment. However, instead of sympathy, fans mocked him on social media, accusing him of playing the victim and being overly emotional. The track was released on July 4th, 2025.
When I was looking at y'all and cooking with y'all and giving out verses and bookings to y'all, making sure I was with Hitman, what did I miss?
Sean Diddy Combs and his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura are facing a new lawsuit filed by male escort Clayton Howard, aka Dave, who accuses them of drugging and sexually exploiting him. Howard claims both Diddy and Cassie used drugs to lower his inhibitions and manipulated him into sexual acts. He also alleges Cassie actively participated rather than being a victim. The lawsuit adds to Diddy's growing legal troubles, which experts say could further damage his reputation and career. And that'll be all for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
And that's it for the bulletin. Thank you for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I am Portia. Gabor. Join Alfredo Cancer at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.